And we're a month away from COP29, the climate summit. It's being hosted this year by Azerbaijan. And the country's president, Ilham Aliyev, defended the decision to give his country the hosting of that event. He said this earlier this year.
COP29 in Azerbaijan is a recognition of Azerbaijan's efforts with respect to green transition. As I said many times, including public comments, the fact that we have oil and gas is not our fault, and we should not be criticized for that. I think those who try to criticize us and those who made the adopted decision to award us with this honor to host this global event should understand that it is our intention to contribute to the issue of climate.
So that's the president of Azerbaijan addressing some criticism of Azerbaijan hosting this next climate summit. I'm joined in the studio by Suleymanov, the Azerbaijan ambassador to Britain. Hello to you and welcome, Ambassador.
Thank you. Good to see you, John.
It's good to have you here. So, look, as you know, there's been some controversy about the choice of Azerbaijan as the host of COP29. I will come to that. But first of all, let me just look at the big issues on the table at the summit. First of all, what do you expect this COP29 to achieve? I know the aim is to set out firm targets and pledges for international contributions to funds to tackle climate change, including in poorer countries. How much do you expect to achieve?
John, thank you very much. This is a very important question. 1 month from now, the global community will gather in Baku, in Azerbaijan, for the most important summit on climate action. Now, this is a very important COP. COP29 is very important. Why? Because the finance COP. We need to talk on the new collective quantifiable goal. This is basically the financial targets to supplement the ambition. Think about this. When there was a decision in Paris Agreement to move forward with a climate agenda, there was no real backing resource-wise for the agenda. So for now, we all talk a lot, but we don't deliver on providing resources. So Baku is crucial to add the real resource base to all the things people say about climate. So if for instance, it doesn't happen, then what we will do next will be just a conversation. Or what happened in Dubai, which was a great achievement, by the way, from our colleagues in UAE and all the global community, will just remain an unsupported ambition by resources.
Yeah, I mean, to put it very crudely, talk is cheap. It's easy to make commitments. Living up to those commitments is another thing. Are you concerned, should we be concerned, Ambassador, that a number of big corporate players, the leaders of Bank America, BlackRock, Standard Chartered, Deutsche Bank, they're not going to Baku for this summit. Some are planning to go to COP30 in Brazil next year instead. And it's led to some low expectations among some of what your summit will actually achieve.
This is a good question. We are working with the government. In fact, as we speak now, there's a pre-COP meeting in Baku today where the leaders are engaged in financial negotiation in Baku, discussing the goals. Look, much of this falls to the government and international financial institutions, not so much on private sector. Although without private sector, that's impossible. Private sector will participate one way or another. By the way, many corporate leaders come to Azerbaijan because this is a financial conversation. Now, I don't fully understand how could major organizations which are involved in financing, global finance centers, not participate in a discussion on a financial contribution to supporting climate action. This is somewhat counterintuitive. I don't understand. Look,
you say you don't understand, Ambassador. Nonetheless, that seems to be their decision. And you will understand that maybe takes away some trust and faith in the ability of this summit to achieve very much.
This is our collective international goal. The world is coming together to make it happen. If God forbids that we don't get to the desired results, that's a collective failure. I think, first of all, that many of them are coming. The second, I think they will follow the overall agenda, and I don't see this as a major problem.
Okay, well, I guess we will see. Your country is an oil and gas producer. It is said, isn't it, by some, that you're not putting enough emphasis on the transition away from fossil fuels to sustainable energy.
Anybody who knows the situation in Azerbaijan would know that we have, by the way, been a leader in green transition before we decided to host COP. In fact, the decision that Baku will host COP happened less than a year ago, as a consensus, which, by the way, was endorsed by our neighbor Armenia as well. What happens, Azerbaijan is leading in the region on solar, on wind and other green technologies. So actually, that's simply not true. But the other thing is, so what that Azerbaijan is a fossil fuel producing country? Everybody is a fossil fuel producer. What do you mean? COP26 was in Glasgow, in Scotland. Scotland is known for its oil production. Egypt was known as Brazil is a significant oil exporter. So we're living in a world which is built by fossil fuels. The idea is how do we transition, and I think this is a conversation where everybody is welcome and everybody should participate.
Well, let me ask you this: one of the controversies surrounding the choice of Azerbaijan as the host of COP29. Do you accept that the choice of Baku is controversial, given your country's record on human rights and dealing with internal dissent? It's been pretty much criticised by important campaign groups like Amnesty and others.
Well, first of all, Amnesty and others criticize everybody all the time. I mean, this is their job. Their job is to go and criticize things. The COP29 is not a controversial hosting place. I mean, any place in the world would be controversial. Where would they not have a problem? Where would Amnesty International not have a problem? They criticize everybody. But let's think about this. We're getting together to address the most important challenge of humanity. This is a climate action. Of course, some would see it as a great opportunity to bash Azerbaijan. Of course, this is their job. But we're not. This is not about Azerbaijan. This is not about Azerbaijan being attacked. This is about, do we agree to move forward with the global climate action or not?
Well, you'll be familiar with the term greenwashing. It signifies, meant to signify the idea of raising a flag in support of climate-related issues for the point of sanitizing your country's reputation. You'll have heard that before. Is this an example of greenwashing on the part of your country?
Of course not. Less than a year ago, we had no idea that we would be hosting COP. How could we greenwash if we didn't even know that we would host COP? We have begun working on green transition long before Azerbaijan agreed to host COP. But by the way, someone came up with this guide, someone paid for this great notion of a greenwash. I don't fully understand what that means. So the idea is that we don't engage in a green transition. We don't discuss climate action because someone doesn't like it. I don't really get. And by the way, this would also be completely counterintuitive, because what happens now is there's a much greater emphasis and spotlight on Azerbaijan. Who would do this? Who would actually try to escape scrutiny by inviting spotlight? That's just controversial.
All right. Thank you for joining us and sharing those thoughts. Ambassador Suleymanov of Azerbaijan.
Thank you, Joe.